Well, hi, Robin. Welcome to the show today. We're glad you could be a part of this conversation.
Hi, Jason. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great. Well, let's just dive right in and let's start with talking about your background and how did you get involved in the world of digital decor design?
Well, I originally started as a photographer. I used to work for a company that would shoot photography from all over the world, and I had a massive database of beautiful images. And I thought, rather than printing them in a frame, do the whole wall. So that was a concept that I sort of grew, and then I soon realized that I was running out of images, and I needed to expand on that. So I started looking at working with other artists and representing them. And then at that point, it was around about 2006, 2007. A lot of the materials for large format digital print were sort of coming to be, like wallpaper and fabric, and the textures were better. And I developed a friendship with a large format printing company, and they started allowing me to work with them and do some tests and try this and try that. So I slowly sort of got involved more and more with prints, using commercial printing materials for decoration. And over the years, the products have improved, the quality of the materials have improved, the look, the feel, the structures, the textures all got better and better, and the market has grown ever since. And that's sort of where I find myself today.
That's great. So when you talk about the media and the design, I'm a creative person as well, and I find my influences from different things. What influences you? Where do you find your inspiration for the designs that you create?
A lot of our inspiration comes from the trends that are happening at the moment. We also look at a lot of things that we feel could work well. The inspiration really comes from the ability to see something that you can translate into an entire wall. So a design that sort of will be comfortable in a living space, a design that works well. So in the beginning, in the early days, I used to do a lot of photographs of brick walls, concrete walls, textures, just different types of background textures that sort of evolved. I think another very big inspiration was a lot of Hollywood movies. You'll always see in Hollywood movies they have textured wallpapers on the background, and that's so that there's not so much light reflection. So a lot of that sort of beautiful moods, beautiful decor comes from there. From different artists, from being involved in the design scene. So there's definitely design communities all over the world that share things, that share different things. And a lot of our inspiration also comes from the sort of living in South Africa, living in Cape Town, the African culture, just the nature. Any botanicals is a big thing. So big leaves, which have always been popular, as you can see behind me, this Beverly Hills Hotel wallpaper, which comes from the 1950s, I think. And I mean, those kind of themes are still going around today. And I think those are the things that really inspire me.
So you just mentioned South Africa. You guys are located in Cape Town, South Africa. Tell us a little bit about your company and the evolution, where you started, where you're at now, and where you see yourself going.
Yeah. So we're in Cape Town, which is a tiny little fishing village at the bottom of Africa. I mean, it's a beautiful city. We've got the famous Table Mountain that everybody knows. It's a beautiful place. We have very diverse cultures here. We have we have conflicts. We have beauty. We have absolute awesome nature. It's one of those cities that just sort of has everything in it, and it's a crazy place to live. And to be honest with you, it's quite a difficult place to be operating a business like this. But that is one of the things that we felt was one of the beautiful things about our company, is that we are this sort of like far-flung little company in the bottom of Africa that produces beautiful wallpapers and produces them for companies worldwide. For us, the difficulty is obviously getting all the materials down here, the cost of freighting. But because of that, we find new ways, we find different products, and we're in a place called Woodstock. Woodstock it was quite a multicultural part of Cape Town, and it slowly evolved. It's sort of the place where the whole hipster scene in Cape Town started. So we've got a lot of makers, we've got a lot of mountain biking shops, we've got a lot of people that are sort of like interior designers, furniture manufacturers, leather goods makers. So Woodstock is a very eclectic part on the foot of Table Mountain. It's got beautiful architecture everywhere. It's very vibrant. It's very colorful. It's become a little bit quieter post-COVID, but it's still a very vibrant, beautiful place. And where we are is we started off as a small office. It just started off as me as the photographer, and then I employed my first designer. And then slowly with the growth of all of our sort of working with different artists, curating their stuff, selling their works, you know, being the sort of digital decor sort of front runner, we bumped into HP at a show in Dubai, and they took notice of us. They saw what we were doing, and they said, you know, we love what you're doing. We want to help promote you. So the relationship with them built up, and then you know, ideas came, and how we're going to grow the business, and how we're going to work with a company like HP, and you know, they gave us a lot of contacts to other companies. And basically we decided, you know, we can be based here. We don't have to ship everything from Cape Town. We can work with other companies in the world. They can produce our stuff. And you know, that's where we are now. At the moment, we work with a lot of artists. We've got new ideas of how to sort of like, you know, work with other designers and use our platform, not just to showcase wallpapers, but to showcase the furniture that we put in front of the wallpapers, to showcase the carpets, the curtains, the chairs. You know, those are things that we can sort of, you know, we can work together with other designers in South Africa, that we can say to them, look guys, you know, you're doing a shoot, why don't we do this together? We'll talk about you, we'll tell your stories. So it's very much about sort of nurturing our platform. It's very much about selling the South African brand, the South African design brand to the rest of the world. And I think where we see ourselves going is definitely where we become spokespeople for a lot of South African designers, a lot of brands. We work together with them, we strengthen our brands, and we show the rest of the world what beautiful talents, what beautiful products, what a beautiful country we have, because you know, we love this place, and we want to help make it work. That's pretty much where we see ourselves going, and growing slowly and growing our network. That's the big dream.
That's great. You talk about your customers are now worldwide. Talk about some of your favorite projects. What are some of the most memorable projects you've worked on?
We've done so many projects. We've worked on a lot of big hotels. We did one of the big memorable projects that I did was a fishing company called Oceana Fishing Company, and they're one of the biggest fishing firms in the whole of Africa. They've got fleets of ships. You know, that they asked me. They said, Robin, come on board with us, work with us. We want to do all of our pictures, all of our wallpapers. We want to do, you know, with your photography. So they pretty much employed me for a period of a year. I mean, while I was doing my business, I'd go out sometimes. I'd sail on the ships with them. I'd sleep on board. I'd, you know, watch all the fish being pulled up, photographing everything. I had access to all of their factories all over the country, seeing how all these lobsters and fish and everything were being caught, and then sort of turning this whole sort of project into like a photographic representation. And at the moment, that was about 6 years ago. They've contacted me again, and they're like, hi, we want to do some more wallpapers. I was like, I'm the one that took all these photographs, you know, 7 years ago. And you know, the big corporations, they changed their people, so they didn't all know who I was. But oh, Robin, fantastic. So projects like that really have a lot of meaning. You know, projects where we can get involved with the companies a little bit more, where we can sort of, you know, do the design work for them, where they give us free reign on the conceptual stuff, where they tell us, you know, this is our brand, this is our concept. Londolozi is a game lodge in northern South Africa. That's one of the most famous lodges in this country, and they've asked me to come up with design ideas for their different lodges, wallpapers for their bathrooms, you know, stuff like that. But it's not just about animals, it's about the design of the place as well, because design is becoming such an important part of life. Design is almost a currency. It's a brand recognition. And the projects that we do where we really get to do really good design, those are the projects that are always the ones that we enjoy as a team. We get to work on them, we get to choose the colors, we get to choose all the different textures, we get to really think it through. And when we get free reign, those are the ones that we love.
So just a real quick side question that I have is, obviously it depends on the size of the job, but what's the average time frame that it takes from beginning to end on any kind of project?
I think I'd say our general projects that we do, we're able to turn them around in the period of 5 to 7 working days. From when somebody approaches us, they generally will ask us for quotes on the stuff that we do, and then to be able to do the design. We've been doing large format design for so long that we really know what the client wants, how to put it together quickly. So generally, on normal jobs, it could take us a week or two. On the more involved jobs, where a game lodge or a hostel or a hotel, they get us involved, and there's a design process. Often those projects, people will start to inquire before they've even gone onto site. So some of those projects that they only want to do next year. So they'll start planning now. They're still getting all their structures in place. So you've got enough time to sort of do the design work. With those projects, there's obviously massive production time that is needed. So you need a month or two just to produce all the papers, package them, get them ready, ship them to whichever country they're going to, and then just deal with the logistics. Often there's times where on the African continent where we actually have to fly our teams over to the countries to do the installations, because they might not have sort of proficient wallpaper hangers in a country like Nigeria or in Ghana. So we'll fly people over there. So generally, it depends on the scale of the project. A general consumer project to me takes about 5 to 7 days, no problem. Guys phone us. Even when we're shipping to the US, it takes us, we can probably do it in less than 2 weeks. When it comes to the bigger projects, 2 to 3 months. Otherwise, for the really massive ones, generally you're looking at around about 9 months to fulfill a massive project like that.
Wow. You talked earlier about how designs change for specific companies or trends change. What are some of the trends that you guys are seeing in this digital decor space?
The trends that we're seeing and the trends that we would like to see, I would say, differ a little bit. I think that the trends that we would like to see in the digital decor space is where the textures of the paper are starting to take quite an important sort of turn now, where before you would get your normal canvas texture, you would get your normal sort of stuccos, your suedes, those kind of textures, which everybody they safe textures. But there's a lot of textures like that are really rougher, that are more sort of involved, like paper crackling, like Hessian sacking, like really nice textures that are well thought out, that are very comfortable to live with, that really added a complete new dimension to the whole wallpaper experience. In my view, design always sort of, the more layers that it has, the simple is nice, but often a design that has layers to it that are well thought out, and the wallpaper is actually one of the actual texture of the wallpaper is one of the layers. What I am seeing that is trending at the moment, I'm seeing obviously a lot of botanicals. I'm seeing a lot of murals. Murals are great. I think murals was very much a sort of a one wall trend in design, where people were sort of doing, like, they were creating a space, and in a lot of the design programs, it's sort of, it's easy to just make one sort of splash on that wall and it looks good and it's easy to do in the program. And I think it's sort of it's sort of something that happens through the use of the program more than it does in real life. Whereas in real life, where you have all 4 walls, like my office here, I've got the whole room which is surrounded by this wallpaper. I think that is very much a trend that I'd like to see sort of picking up a little bit more. It is slowly happening. I also like to see sort of more sort of textures, just plain textures, abstract artwork. I think is always great, easy to live with, has longevity. I think at the end of the day, what you really got to look at with a wallpaper is the longevity of that wallpaper. How long can you live with it? How long can you live with an elephant from a game lodge on your wall? It's sort of, after a few years, it gets a bit tiring. You really have to be able to create sort of textures and environments that can last. And I think that's really what we try and do with our business.
we're living in a very unique time right now worldwide with this COVID-19 pandemic. And so what are some of the things that, like some of the opportunities in digital decor, inside a pandemic and even on this backside of the pandemic, what are some opportunities perhaps for 2021 or 2022 that you see coming out of this? Because, when we think about hotels, they're struggling to fill their rooms, and so their budget is probably not affording them the opportunity to remodel now, but they could be thinking about it for 2021. Do you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I mean, there's a lot of opportunities. There's opportunities when it comes to sort of technical things like adding antibacterial coating to the paper that sort of has less chance of sort of infecting people. Antibacterial coatings is something that has been spoken about, or an antibacterial varnish. But besides the technical things, I think people are going to start feeling a lot more comfortable in their little sort of pods where they're protected from other people. And I think you're seeing a lot of that in the display world, where every single place has got one of those perspex sheets that divides everybody. And you sort of see people actually working around them. But what you're also seeing is, you're seeing people starting to decorate those things nicely. So, for example, in a restaurant where you have your little tables, you can have a little pod. You can put a perspex screen up that's sort of hung by two strings at the bottom and the top, and it has a nice print on that. The same sort of thing with maybe a little bit of a curtain, or preferably anything that can be cleaned easily. So you'll find that sort of people are going to be forced to put certain objects to protect, to sort of adhere to the law. And then they're going to be forced to put those things up, but now they look so terrible. There's going to be definitely an evolution in the design of those things, whether it's frosted vinyl that you're going to be putting on there, or a print or something, just to sort of blend in with the rest of the thing, because it's going to be there for a while. If you take it down, does it just end up on the landfill? What do you do with all that stuff? So you might as well make it worthwhile, make it nice. And I think that's where a lot of the trends are going to go. Besides that, I think it's very difficult to predict how much longer people are going to tolerate having all these type of things in their environment. But I think people are going to realize they're in certain cases, like hospitals, they're going to have permanent dividers. In restaurants, something like people are going to want to feel more comfortable with those type of things. So they'll be there for us to stay.
Yeah, we talked in our webinar last month, we talked about responsible decor, and specifically we got into some of the safer wallpaper materials that are type 2 certified, and those can work really well in a hospital or a hotel or a restaurant, in those public spaces where you need that kind of protection, and the opportunity to extend beyond, once everything does get back to whatever the new normal is going to look like. Suddenly you don't have dividers that you're taking down because you've designed responsibly from the very beginning.
Exactly, and I think that's, I think people also need to take into consideration that all those things that they are creating, that they are producing, that there is some sort of sustainability to it. Are they able to recycle it? Are they able to up-purpose it? I think people mustn't just throw stuff out into the market, because it's so easy for our industry to create that clutter, but also to give it a lot more thought before they do it, and just say to themselves, wait a minute, guys, let's just do this properly from the beginning with the design team. Let's decorate it nicely. Let's make it look good. It's going to be there for a long time, so we might as well embrace it.
Right, exactly. So let's shift a little bit and talk about some of your favorite products. What are some of your favorite products that you like to use for wall designs?
Yeah, I obviously I love a lot of the I love a lot of the paper materials. So the eco materials, HP produces a few of them. I really, for our display graphics, we're using a lot of SEG, silicon edge graphics. HP also has a very nice backlit material. we use quite a lot of products from Vescom. Vescom's really creating some nice textures. A company called Descardi is also creating some really nice textures. At the end of the day, I also like the traditional finishes, like the normal paper finishes. I like the I like the fabrics, the synthetic fabrics that really look and feel real. So you'll get sort of a cotton slab in a synthetic material that looks like cotton and feels like cotton, but it's actually it's dye subbable. Those are the materials that I think that go best. And I think that there's been a lot of developments. There's also been a lot of products that have been have been endorsed by HP that they've written the profiles for them, so that they work on the latex machine. So we obviously use a lot of HP latex. That's for us, that's the go-to machine because it doesn't have smells. It is sort of a comfortable sort of smell to live with. So we do endorse a lot of their products, the ones that we can get and the ones that we feel are sort of that have got the least amount of environmental impacts. Our business really tries to look at that.
Well, we're coming to the end of our interview here, so I've got one final question. When you think about print service providers, what are some tips? And I'd like to almost segment this into two different groups. What are some tips that you would give? We can start with existing print service providers who are already doing decor. You know, what would you as a designer want to see them improve upon or do differently? And then the second part of the question is print service providers who aren't in the digital decor space, what kind of tips would you give them to help them get into this market?
I think for a lot of the, the print service providers that are there, I think that they obviously have some access to that market. I think they should really look at their products. I think they should help the industry as a whole demand better quality products, not just always go for what's cheap, what's PVC, what works well, but to really look at the finishes of their products. I think that there's a very good market out there for them. I think they should also really look into, you know, across the board. There's obviously healthcare, there's hotels, there's hospitals, there's a whole lot of opportunities for them out there, and to give our whole industry a good name, you know, try to provide the best quality you can. Instead of printing on 8-pass, print on 12 or 16-pass. You know, just up your game. That's my advice to them. My advice to anybody that is really trying to get into the game is to, you know, to take it seriously, to try your best to look the part, to feel the part. When your customers come to your showroom, don't just show them sort of a signage sort of company that's got all these like crazy perspex cut out things and petrol station signage and shopping center make your environment look good, make your space look good, take it seriously, employ somebody that, you know, dresses a little bit nicely, that has the ability to connect with the right type of people. The right type of people are interior designers. The right type of people are, you know, project developers. Those kind of people, and you know, to really focus on one thing rather than having that guy do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and maybe do sales. It's really to actually take the opportunity to show. Ourselves as a company, we often look for the opportunity to work with companies that are in the design space or that are trying to get into the design space, where we offer the service of an artwork facility. We do look hard at the company that we want to work with. We allow them access to our artwork, and we allow them to use some of our artwork under a license fee. So there's access to a lot of images is important. Like what kind of quality of images you're going to get, what type of images look good for a large wall, because not every hat fits all heads. So you really have to you know, find a nice bespoke. So we do offer that service. So you can take a look at my website, robinsprong.com, and yeah, that's what I hope is good advice.
Yeah, you made a great point about those that aren't in this space need to take it serious from the very beginning. And it's like, you know, don't just take the mindset of getting into this space seriously, but take your equipment purchases seriously, take your media purchases seriously. It reminds me, when I was in high school, I had a coach who used to say, if you do it right, you'll do it light, but if you do it wrong, you'll do it long. And
absolutely, you know, just really focus on it. Take it seriously, you know. If you've got somebody working on that, leave them on that. Don't start jumping them around, you know, because it does take time for companies that are not in the game to start finding out this whole new industry. Who are these people that I can sell to? And then within that market, just remember there's multiple segments. There's the direct customer, which is a whole different model on its own, which is actually quite a good model. There's the business to business model, where you sort of dealing with businesses, and then you're dealing with direct customers who and sort of contractors that are building the places. I think a really good space is to sort of to start in the beginning, where and you know, cut your teeth on you know the home customer, because he's the most difficult one. He's the one that's going to make you come there 5 times, and he's going to micro inspect every single join and cut you make, but you're going to learn a lot from that. And you know, you're going to get a couple of gray hairs, but at least you're going to cut your teeth properly. And I think that's an important thing. And you know, the weakest link in your whole chain, you can do such a beautiful job. You can print a beautiful wallpaper. You can have absolutely no banding. You can have absolutely beautiful flat colors. You can have beautiful paper. You can have everything. But the Achilles heel of your whole thing is your installer. So don't just give your, you know, very expensive several $1,000, however much you paid for that wallpaper, to just any old guy that's going to sort of slap it up on a wall. Make sure that he knows what he's doing, because he's also representing you. You know, so I think a very important part is to sort of check out the whole process and make sure that everything is done. And I think a very difficult customer is the wallpaper customer, because you know, he's living with it, he's looking at it, and I promise you, he's going to look at those joins and he's going to say, "What's going on with those joins, man?" It's part of the game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Robin, it has been a joy speaking with you. How can people find you? You mentioned your website. You want to say that again, and any social profiles you're on?
Yeah, you can follow us on our Instagram page, is at Robin Sprong Wallpapers. That's our Instagram page. We're on Facebook. We've got a Facebook page, Robin Sprong Wallpaper. My email address is robin@Robin Sprong Wallpaper. So you're more than welcome to email me. And obviously our website, robinsprong.com. That's our website. And take a look at our designs. We've got a few nice products. We've got a few products other interior decor products that we're developing. Take a look.
Great. Well, Robin, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure, and hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend down there in South Africa.
Thank you so much. Same to you. Enjoy. Thanks for having me.